Welcome back, everybody, to the New York Knicks, MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K22. We are nearing the end of season number 2. Currently, our Knicks are 26-38. It hasn't exactly been the season that we had hoped or expected, but as we've talked about throughout the last couple of episodes, I still think this team is on the right path. Last episode was the trade deadline, and we made a couple of moves. We traded away Christian Brown, Trey Jones, and some second-rounders to acquire Jayshawn Tate, an interesting forward who is currently hurt, but talented player. The contract of Duncan Robinson, he's not really playing, but he'll be used as salary filler, hopefully in a later trade, and then a future first-round pick to add to our stash of draft picks. There were some fireworks around the rest of the NBA, with Kevin Durant being traded to the Suns and Paul George being traded to the Hawks, changing the balance of power. Now seeing teams like the Nets and Clippers start rebuilds, and the Suns and Hawks going all in for a championship. Other players such as Deni Avdija, Isaiah Stewart, Patrick Williams, and Devin Vassell were traded to possible playoff teams as well. So we are currently the 12th seed in the Eastern Conference, but we're only a game and a half back of the 10th seed, which is the final play-in spot. So if we can play well enough the final month and a half of the season, we could grab that spot. And if you look at our point differential, it's only minus 1.5. I think that's a sign that maybe we're better than a team like the Bulls and we could easily pass them. So hopefully that ends up being the case. The West has been pretty chaotic as well. Big time races there. The Suns have been struggling so far with Kevin Durant, which is kind of crazy. So the team is obviously a little bit banged up. Jayshawn Tate is hurt. Splash Mayo is hurt. Mitchell Robinson isn't playing because he doesn't want to be here. So we're not really at full strength right now, but hopefully the guys who we do have on the floor will be able to play well. RJ Barrett's finally fully healthy for the first time in a little while, so that's good. And then we also have a prospect profile today as well. So a couple episodes ago, we went over some of the lottery talents. Now we're going over some of the middle of the first round talents. Currently, our New York Knicks own 3 picks in the first round: our own pick, the Lakers pick, and the Pacers pick. It's currently unclear whether we're going to hold on to those picks or if we're going to use them in a trade for a big-name player. But regardless, we definitely need to do our due diligence on these prospects in case we do look to add more young talent. There isn't really any clear consensus top pick this year. There are a bunch of guys really competing for that spot, many of whom we went over in the last prospect profile. Let's talk about some guys whose stocks have gone up to being potential lottery picks who we have not talked about yet, including Florida State forward Hubert Rumford. I think he's going to be a very NBA-ready player. Not a great three-point shooter, but the rest of his game is really solid. Good defender. He's versatile on both ends of the floor. He can run the floor in transition. He's a good playmaker for his size as well. It's just really about getting some offensive consistency, particularly from beyond the arc. But I think he's a really well-rounded player. I don't think he's ever going to be a star, but I think you're looking at someone who's going to be a role player who contributes to winning. Percy Butler III out of Oklahoma is a really talented big man. He plays with an edge to him. As the kids say, he's got that dog in him. This is a tough, physical player who is very intimidating down low. He has the versatility to defend the perimeter as well, and he's a really, really good passer for his size. Again, not the most consistent in terms of scoring, but I do really like his upside on both ends of the floor. Right now, I think Ra-Khalif Dumbo of the NBA's G League Ignite is one of the most polarizing players in this draft class because he is not a very good basketball player right now. I don't think he's going to be able to contribute to an NBA rotation for a little while, but he is a world-class athlete, and the ceiling with him might be higher than any player we have talked about so far in this entire draft class. He is one of the most impressive physical specimens I've ever seen, and sometimes you want to bet on the kid. You want to bet on the person, and I think Dumbo is the type of player who you bet on. This is somebody with a really strong work ethic. Every year he's been on the national circuit, he has drastically improved, and although he's still got a long ways to go in his development, he's the type of person who you put your faith and belief in to improve. And the Knicks, with 3 first-round picks, maybe want to take a swing for upside with a guy like him. Iowa big man Weston Labotsicu falls in the opposite boat. He does not have world-class athleticism or superstar upside, but I think he's going to be a really good player, and I think he's going to be really good right away. He's a solid offensive player, gifted touch around the basket, great mid-range scorer, great fadeaway, and then defensively, you can put him on the low block at 6'10", 270 pounds, but his quickness for his size and his length suggests that he's also able to defend the wing. You don't find many people who are 6'10", 270 pounds who you can put on the perimeter and trust to stay stride for stride with these quick guards, but I think Lamontague can. I think with his size and quickness, he's going to be a really intriguing prospect towards the end of the lottery. Next up, we have Day Frost, a point guard from Arizona. His brother, Caden Frost, was a lottery pick out of the University of Kentucky by the Charlotte Hornets. He's averaging 13 and 8 as a full-time starter for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, so he's had a pretty good rookie year. Day Frost hasn't necessarily gotten hit by the genetic lottery, but he's very talented as well. As you can see there, runs the floor really well. One of the quickest players in transition you will find. He's a good passer, pretty good defender. He forced a turnover on that play. He's got to improve his consistency really on both ends of the floor, particularly offensively, but I like his shot form. I think he's an improving three-point shooter. I think he's a good playmaker, although he turns it over a little bit too much. And then his defense, he gives great effort there, very intense defender. He knows how to force steals. He knows how to force bad passes. So I think he's going to be a pretty fun player at the next level if he can just improve on the little things and get a little bit more consistent. We've seen a lot of guards' stocks go up and down the board. Ledoux, Moore, and Cotchery were players who we talked about in the last episode. I think most of those guys will still go in the top 10, but their stocks are dropping a little bit because of the rise of other guards, such as DeAnthony Baker. In my opinion, DeAnthony Baker is the best passer in this class. I mean, look at that. Along with good passing, he's got really good court vision, really good basketball IQ. This comparison might be a little bit lofty, but I see some Chris Paul, I see some Tyrese Halliburton in his game when I watch him. He's an okay scorer, needs to improve there, but he's not bad in that area. Defensively, he's got a long ways to go, but somebody who knows how to create shots for other people really goes a long way. So I think Baker, the young guard out of Cincinnati, is going to be a really, really talented player at the next level. Going down the board even further, Cengiz Yilmaz out of Turkey is a very fascinating player. We haven't really talked about many international players at the top of this class, so let's take a look at some of those guys here, starting with Yilmaz. Very solid 3-and-D defender. I think he's going to be a good role player at the next level. Very good shooter, particularly off the catch. Not great at creating his own shot, but he can shoot when he's open off the catch. Good playmaker. He's a good perimeter defender. He isn't really going to give you any value on the low block defensively. He's not overly versatile there, but on the perimeter, he is locked down. Going down even further, you've got guys like Abram Mabaye out of Kansas, a talented young big man, Francisco Lorenko, Alexander Starstovic, all very talented players, but I really want to talk about Max Maddock. What a block there. This is a physical, tough basketball player. Hails from New Zealand, currently playing for the Brisbane Bullets of the NBL. I really, really like this young man's skill set. He's a little bit inconsistent as a scorer, but he has shown the flashes of being a really good three-level scorer at the next level. Solid playmaker, really good defender. I mean, this is just a tough, gritty basketball player. Another guy who I would say plays with an edge, has that dog in him. You don't normally see New Zealand producing high-end basketball talent, and I think we can say the same about Ireland, which is where our next player, point guard Kenny Cooks, hails from. Cooks has played in Ireland and England professionally, although he does have a dual citizenship with Spain, so he has been playing for the Spanish under-20 national teams, and he has really produced. He hasn't played against the best competition in the British leagues he's played in, but on the national circuit, he's been pretty impressive. This is a very, very talented player who is another one of the best passers in this draft class. He's a good scorer from inside the arc, and that three-point shot is improving. Defensively, not great, but I think he's got good basketball IQ for his age, and I think he's going to be a fun player late in the first round who could be a really, really interesting player down the board. Got some guys like Coco Diablo and Seth McRobert, who we talked about last time. Their stocks have gone down a little bit, but I think they're both still really good. And now we get to the Story twins, Jalen Story and Kyril Story Jr. You may know their father, Kyril Story. For those of you who are uncultured and don't know their father, Kyril Story was a player in our Seattle Sonics MyNBA franchise last year. We drafted him with the 9th overall pick out of Clemson. He was pretty much a guard, but in a 6'10" forward's body. So you can already tell this is somebody who's very versatile, very well-rounded, and in his very first Summer League game, when he essentially murdered Jalen Johnson cold-blooded, is when we knew he would be special, and it was only uphill from there. Kyril Story was pretty much the third wheel on that team behind Buzz Wigginton and Oscar J. Basile, but there were many times where Story was the go-to guy, and he even hit really the dagger in Game 7 of our very first NBA championship over the St. Louis Spirits. We've already seen Buzz Wigginton's kid in the league. We're now seeing Kyril Story's children. Maybe Oscar J. Basile's going to have a son here too. Hint, hint. Let's start with Kyril Story Jr. He usually goes by KJ Story, so we'll refer to him as that. I think of the two Story twins, KJ has a lot more long-term upside. He's more of a point guard at like 6'9", kind of similar to his father. The problem is, unlike Kyril Story Sr., Jr. doesn't really have much off-ball value, which isn't ideal. But I do think he has a higher ceiling than his brother because I think he's a little bit more athletic. I think he's got more upside to be really good. Jalen Story, on the other hand, has a much more projectable skill set to be a role player as opposed to a star. So because of that, I don't think the ceiling is as high with Jalen Story compared to his twin KJ, but I think Jalen Story is going to be able to contribute a little bit quicker. I think he has more off-ball value, although he can run the point as well. He just hasn't really had to do it because his brother has always done that. Both of these guys have followed their dad's path. They both play at Clemson, and they're a really, really fun backcourt together. They complement each other's skill sets really well, which is, I think, what's the most fascinating part about the two of them. The last player we're going to talk about today is Alfie Kohn, the 7'2" French big man. Again, one of the most polarizing players in the draft class. Draft Express has him ranked at 32, but don't get it twisted. I don't think he's going to fall out of the top 10. I think the upside with him is too much. I mean, look at the ranks compared to the mock drafts. They have him going way earlier in the mock drafts. 19, 8, that's one of our picks currently, and then 12. Teams are really going to like the upside with Kohn. He is 7'2". He's already got an NBA body. He's got elite size and length, but the problem with him is he's not very good at basketball yet. This defensive possession sums it up perfectly. Makes a bad play the entire time, but relies on his length to still block the shot. So if he can improve, he is going to be a physical force down the line. And again, he's already got an NBA body. He's 260 pounds. He's thick. He's muscular. Pause. And obviously he's tall and he's got super long arms. So if he can just, get better really across the board, the sky's the limit with him. But he's got a long ways to go. Someone's going to take a shot on him early. It might really pay off and change your franchise, but it might completely backfire as well. So that'll wrap up this second prospect profile. And again, we're going to see guys' stocks change throughout the season. We may even see guys go super high who we haven't even talked about yet. That's a great thing about the NBA draft. So it'll be interesting to follow as we get closer and closer to the 2024 NBA draft. I really wanted to play this game at home against the Thunder, really for one reason, and that's to watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at Madison Square Garden. I've made it very clear that I'm trying to accumulate assets to go out and get a star-level player, and I have made it very clear that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is at the top of my list. While OKC does have a young, improving team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a big market personality. I think he would really enjoy playing in New York. He's got connections here with guys already on the roster. So hopefully he enjoys his next few days in the Big Apple. Splash Mayo is returning from an injury, and I am going to put him in the starting lineup. I think he's playing really well. He's our leading scorer per 36 minutes. I think with more playing time, he's going to do really, really well. Part of this experiment will have Cesar DiCarlo come off the bench with his stamina issues. I think that would be a good role for him playing in bunches. We ended up splitting our next two games, putting us at 27 and 39, leading to this matchup against the Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's, grand opening at the Garden.
At guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
New York fans making sure not to boo him. They want Shai to enjoy his time in New York. And along with Shai, we've got a player making his first NBA start today as well for the Knicks.
At guard, at 6'7", number 34.
Splash Mayo. Alrighty, let's hop into this matchup here between the Knicks and the Thunder at the Garden. Both teams fighting for a play-in spot within their respective conferences. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets to experience what it's like to play at the Garden. With both teams having an off night yesterday, we had R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish take Shai out for dinner, along with Lou Dort, to try to plant the seed in those guys' heads about wanting to play here in New York. It's not tampering if you get the players to try to convince their friends to team up with them. Splash Mayo also making his first career NBA start today as the Thunder win the tip, and we are underway. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looking to get to work early against possibly his future team as he misses his first shot, but Chet Holmgren gets the second chance look off the rebound and assist by Josh Giddey. 2-0 score. Here is Mayo, the rookie, pulls up for three. Splash Mayo has played very well in limited playing time this year. I'm excited to see what he can do with more PT and a real opportunity to break out here late in the season. Giddey with a nice pass inside for the big fella, Chet Holmgren, who throws it down. Kyle Kuzma with it for Oklahoma City. His pass is tipped and intercepted by R.J. Barrett. Barrett's Canadian, Shai is Canadian. They both grew up around the same time. Hopefully RJ had some good words about New York to his buddy Shai last night. Good second chance opportunity here for Chet Holmgren, the former number 2 overall pick out of Gonzaga, making the layup as it's 10-7. Giddey gets it over to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, guarded by Brunson. I think with all the SGA trade rumors, Brunson's got to have an extra chip on his shoulder. I think we're really going to see him play well today, although SGA wins the battle that time. 12-7. The Thunder are looking good early. Feinstein misses the 3, but Omer Yurtseven is there for the putback, and it's now 12-9. Make it 14-11. Here's Lou Dort. We're trying to convince him to come to the Knicks as well. He's also Canadian and a good friend of both Shai and RJ. He would miss the 3, but PJ Washington would answer with a 3 of his own. 17-11 now. Brunson gets it over to the rookie Feinstein. Back to Brunson inside for Ahmed Kabongo, who is a little bit of a mismatch with P.J. Washington on him. Kabongo banging down low. P.J. Washington normally likes to bang down low, but not that time. 17-13, Josh Giddey, the native of Australia, hits the 3. Giddey has performed historically very well in his career here at the Garden. As R.J. Barrett hits the corner 3, he's got 7. Barrett's been on a little bit of a slump since the All-Star break. Hopefully he can break out of it today. Cesar DiCarlo, the rookie, his first time coming off the bench in his NBA career, misses the shot. But the rookie, Patrick Feinstein, is there for the putback. Feinstein with 6 and 4. He's played, I think, the entire first quarter so far. DiCarlo falls asleep on defense, and Lou against Dort capitalizes as he dunks it home to put the Thunder back ahead. 22-21. DiCarlo with the layup, making up for his defensive blunder on the last possession as the New York Knicks hold a 1-point lead, 23-22. Pretty competitive start to this game. It feels like Oklahoma City's been in control for the most part, but the Knicks are playing pretty well over the last few minutes, trying to keep it going here in the second quarter. The rookie, Jackson Watkins, hits the 3. Watkins is another guy who I want to give more playing time to. I think he's got so much potential, and I would love to see him get some more minutes late in the year. Barrett no good, but Yurtseven is there for another putback. Over Yurtseven having a pretty good start to the day, doing the dirty work with 4 and 5, both of his buckets off of offensive rebounds. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with a nice move and floater. SGA is such a smooth offensive player. That's one of the main reasons why the Knicks want him so much. Somebody who can create on and off the ball. Splash Mayo with the screen, scoring in contact. And the Knicks are on fire. They are currently on a 10-2 run to start the second quarter. Here is Barrett, three-pointer no good, but Splash Mayo is there for the offensive rebound. Mayo started the game inefficiently, but I think the jitters of his first career start are coming out now, and he's looking a lot more comfortable. Brunson inside for Omer Yurtseven, who throws it down. The Knicks continuing to dominate here in the second quarter. The Thunder have 4 points in the first 4.5 minutes of the quarter, trying to fix that here off of a putback from Chet Holmgren. Holmgren's been the only player for the Thunder who I feel like has legitimately played well today. Everybody else, including Shai and Dort, have both been kind of disappointing. Holmgren hits the 3, cutting the lead to 6 as it's now 37-31. Here is the top draft pick, Wally Knotts III out of Tennessee, inside for the layup. Knotts was drafted 8th overall, a few spots before the Knicks draft pick, and the Knicks, if you remember, really wanted to get him. And Knotts has been a good player as a rookie here for OKC. Barrett gets it over to Splash Mayo, who hits the triple. Mayo with 7 here in the quarter as it's 33-40. Barrett in the corner lets it fly from deep. Good shot for R.J. Barrett. He's got 10 as it's 33-43. Giddey with a nice pass inside. It's Wally Knotts the third who throws it down, and the former Tennessee Volunteer makes it a single-digit deficit once again. Pat Connaughton with it, gets it over to Lou Gintz Dort, who airballs it. That's not good. Normally the Knicks fans will be making fun of him, but again, since the Knicks want to convince Dort and Shea to come here, we can't do that, and luckily the fans are smart enough to know that. Lob attempt is unsuccessful to Holmgren. The Knicks on the fast break. Cesar DiCarlo with a good pass inside for Patrick Feinstein, who makes the layup. 35-45. It's been a very low-scoring first half. Now 37-45. Here's Killa. Cam Reddish at the buzzer. His first points of the night. Although Reddish is not Canadian, he did take part in the Canadian dinner last night with Barrett, Shea, and Dort. Cam Reddish is kind of one of our leaders and team captains, so we wanted to have him join. 37-48 your score going into the third quarter. The Knicks defense has been fantastic. Oh my goodness, did you guys see Shea nearly get his ankles broken? I know Brunson didn't make the shot, but we got to look at that one again. Jalen Brunson trying to make fun of Shea. Again, Jalen Brunson's got a chip on his shoulder. You think he wants to be replaced by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Here comes the Knicks in transition after a great defensive play. It's Barrett with the and one. It's been a rough start to the third quarter for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He got his brankles open. He allows an and one. He missed a wide open three on the last possession. Things are not looking good. What happens here? He gets cooked inside by his good friend and possible future teammate R.J. Barrett. 37-54. Here is Holmgren. Inside and one. Big play for the Thunder. Mayo, the rookie, called for the foul. Chet Holmgren continues to dominate here for OKC, trying to put the team on his back. Barrett with a nice pass for Mayo. Shot won't fall. Yurtseven is there for the rebound and the putback. Another putback by Omer Yurtseven. The Knicks aren't really running plays through him, but he's scoring because he's getting second chance opportunities on the glass. Brunson gets it out to R.J. Barrett, who hits the three off the screen. Barrett with 18 points, 8 of which have come here in the first few minutes of the third quarter. Shea off the screen, lets it fly, and it is good. I've been a little bit underwhelmed by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander today. Maybe he's a little bit distracted, trying to focus more on the atmosphere and his future here rather than the game itself. I don't know. R.J. Barrett gets the dunk, 47-63. Here comes Barrett again, scoring in contact. R.J. Barrett is on fire right now. The Thunder cannot stop him on and off the court. There is Patrick Feinstein with the slam. Good little pick and roll there by the Knicks. The Thunder offense continues to lay an egg as DiCarlo, the rookie, goes up for the slam. Cesar DiCarlo's been kind of quiet tonight in his first game off the bench, hoping to see more out of him, such as on this possession, blowing by Giddey for the layup. New York now up by 22. This is turning into a blowout. 49-71, Knicks on top. Josh Giddey answers back with a floater of his own to cut the lead back down to 20. 51-71, good ball movement here by New York. And then Barrett blows by the Italian rookie Enzo Valentino for the dunk. Got a couple Italian rookies here with Valentino and DiCarlo as Kabongo blocks the shot. Here comes New York. It's Cesar DiCarlo inside for the slam. DiCarlo's been playing some great ball here in the third quarter with 6 points, 8 total, as it's a 24-point lead. Here's Giddey with the spin move. What a move by Josh Giddey to cut the lead to 22. 55-77. Here is Valentino off the screen from Holmgren. Valentino lobs it up for the big fella, Chet Holmgren, who throws it down. 57-77, under a minute to go in the quarter. Quickly gets it over to R.J. Barrett with a deep three. 29 points for Barrett, 19 of which have come in the third quarter. Not as impressive as Cam Reddish's 30-point quarter a couple episodes ago, but still pretty good. 57-80. Here's Connaughton with the screen from Washington. Connaughton heaves up a prayer, and it is good. What a shot for Pat Connaughton to again bring the lead down to 20. Connaughton inside for Washington, over to Giddey, to Valentino, to Washington, to Dort at the buzzer. No good. It's been a rough game for Lou Dort. Might have had too much to eat in that dinner last night with RJ and Cam. That'll wrap up the third quarter, 60-82. The Knicks lead big going into the fourth. Let's see if they can hold on to this lead as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes up for the slam. Mostly some happy cheers in the crowd. The Knicks fans want to show him some good hospitality here. Kuzma with a nice dunk. Not as many loud cheers as it's 66-82. Reddish gets the screen. Reddish has had a pretty inefficient game tonight, but he hits the three. Nice shot for Cam Reddish. Man, really everybody on our little dinner last night hasn't done too well in this game. Dort, Shea, and Cam Reddish have all been underwhelming. I guess they gave all of their powers to RJ Barrett because he's been really good. Chet Holmgren's also been really good. He has been by far OKC's best player the entire game as he gets an and one. Wally knots the third, hits the triple in transition, and the Thunder are making a little run at this lead. They're only down by 14 points, playing pretty well early here in the fourth. Gilgeous-Alexander inside for Josh Giddey, who gets the dunk. Oklahoma City cuts it to 12. 74-86. The Knicks got to wake up. They can't allow a comeback. Brunson gets it over to Feinstein. Back out to Brunson. His three-pointer is good. That's Jalen Brunson's first field goal of the night. I was hoping for a little more sense of urgency from him on the offensive end of the floor. 76-91. Giddey gets it inside for Gilgeous-Alexander, who goes with the tomahawk slam. He is hyped. 78-91. Feinstein misses inside. Blocked. Good defense by Oklahoma City. They can cut it to a 10-point game with a three. Or they'll take the two instead. Easy dunk for Chet Holmgren, bringing it to an 11-point game. Lead back up to 13 now for the Knicks. 3.5 to go. Cesar DiCarlo inside for Yurtseven with the dunk. 10 and 12. That's a double-double for Omer Yurtseven. 84-99. The Knicks looking to put a bow on this game as DiCarlo goes inside for the layup. Cesar DiCarlo was quiet early in this game, but he is playing very well here in the second half. Why not keep it going? DiCarlo runs the full length of the floor with the layup inside, making it a 15-point game. But DiCarlo wants one more big play to kill off the Thunder once and for all as he has it here late. Mamma mia, what a pass inside for Yurtseven. That's your dagger here in this one, folks. The Knicks take it home 105-91. Overall, a really good game here for the Knicks. A good win against a talented team. And hopefully, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort enjoying their time in New York City. Obviously, as I've talked about today, we had the two of them go out to dinner with RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish to converse about the city, converse about playing for the Knicks. And I think this little, sequence here for Shai and Dort helped convince them that, New York might be a place where they want to go. RJ Barrett with 31, he was really good. Splash with an inefficient 14. DiCarlo with a very efficient 14 and 6 in just 12 minutes. He was really good off the bench. The only problem I had is that he was only in the game 12 minutes. He needs to play more because when he was on the floor, he was really, really good. Yurtseven and Feinstein, both with a double-double. I was hoping for a little bit more from Brunson. Reddish was pretty bad for his standards, and that's about it. On the other side, Chet Holmgren was a beast, 31 and 12. Shai with 17 and 4. But obviously the bigger deal with him and Dort was the overall experience in New York rather than this game itself. We're going to simulate a 5-game road trip here, 4 games along the West. Going to be a challenge, and well, it obviously was. We went 0-5. We had some close games against the Hawks and the Mavericks, but then we got blown out in our last 3 matchups. That's not good. So with 10 games to go, we're 28-44. We're 3.5 back of the last play-in spot. So we're going to have some decisions to make in the next episode. Do we go for that last play-in spot, which now feels pretty unlikely, or do we kind of start to tank to end the season? Do we start to sit some of our veterans and play more of our young guys like we did with Splash Mayo today? That'll wrap up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.